A new game has just launched on MetaQuest that's trying to change things up a bit. The roguelike genre is super popular in VR, but ZIX, it has some ideas of its own and it's going to play a bit differently.
Unseen warriors. The weak flicker and only the strong endure. You will fall.
Now before we dive in, ZIX is an early access game. The developers make you really aware of this before you get into the game. It tells you this as you as you accept an agreement before you start. And then in the game, in the hub area, it tells you all of the issues that the developers are aware of before you even jump into a game. And to be fair, they're pretty accurate. There are some things that we found a bit more difficult or unwieldy than they should be, and some things which didn't really have any effect. But all of these issues that we discovered when playing were highlighted on this wall in the game. The developers are obviously very aware of what they've put out here in early access and what needs to change. So it's good to know that that is the agenda, given that ZIX, even as it stands, is a pretty good time. As I say, ZIX is a roguelike game. The idea here is that you're going to be going on runs through different maps in order to complete the levels and earn rewards and power up and do it all over again. As you start, the game generates you a campaign and you'll play through each of the levels that it offers, all of which have multiple stages to them, in order to power up, obtain new items and new skills and so on. It's pretty formulaic in the way it does the roguelike, and I mean, we got some power-ups that didn't really do anything and so on, but again, the developers are aware of this. They highlighted that is the situation. They just don't tell you which ones. But ultimately, the roguelike element, the leveling up and the upgrading your abilities and so on, it looks like it's going to be pretty good when the developers actually get some meat on those bones. The big change that ZIX brings to the formula is what the developers are calling the instinct system. Now, in my mind, this is literally just fluid movement. But regardless of its fancy name, the traversal system in ZIX is pretty impressive. ZIX is a fast-paced game. You are constantly moving at quite a high speed, and you have lots of traversal abilities such as jump in, double jump in, dash in, wall running. Anything you can think of to get you from point A to point B, you can probably do it here. And it's good. There's no denying that this part of the game has obviously had a lot of work on it, and it works very well. Now, I am quite familiar with VR, and I definitely have my VR sea legs. Whether someone else coming into this as an early VR experience might not feel as comfortable, I don't know, that's up for debate. Let me know in the comments below once you've played the game. But for me, as someone who has tried a lot of VR, I had no problems with the speed of the game, with the acrobatics that I was pulling off. It felt smooth, it felt intuitive, and it felt rewarding. And the combat follows a similar pace. While it's quite simple, especially compared to this instinct system, it does do exactly what it says it's going to do. You can play with a sword or knives or a bow and arrow, and you can take out enemies and have a pretty good time doing it. There's nothing elaborate about the combat, and there's also nothing particularly underwhelming. It is what it sets out to be. Now, alongside all of this is, of course, the visual style of the game. It sets itself apart significantly. As you'll see in the footage in this video here, as always, of course, we're only using the first couple of levels, so we don't have any spoilers. Much like the combat system, it is very simplified visual quality, but there is some flair. For example, the way in which you get some motion lines drawn from your sword when you swing it around. This is actually really nice touches. Again, it's pretty basic, but it works, and it makes the game stand apart from its peers, which, in a genre as heavily crowded as the roguelike genre in VR, can only be a good thing. Now, as I've said, there are some issues with the game, but again, thankfully, the developers are very aware of this, and they've made it noted that this is an early access game, there are features that are going to be worked on, and here's the ones that are an issue. As I say, there were some power-ups that maybe weren't as effective as they should be, and that's a small issue that will be easily overcome in due course. A larger issue is the co-op. How does it work? For every time that we tried, it simply did not engage. It simply did not kick into gear. And frankly, the roguelike game that has been presented here It's built for co-op. It clearly, after you've made a little bit of progress, it is designed for you to enjoy with friends. The level structure, as simplistic as it may be, has been paced in such a way that you should be engaging with your peers to enjoy these worlds. So ZIX is being presented with some pretty impressive movement systems, some decent combat, a leveling up roguelike system that looks like it has a lot of potential, and some really cool visual style. So what's missing? Well, ultimately, as I said the whole way through this video, it is an early access game. That co-op system needs a significant amount of work. The upgrade system needs some fleshing out, and there are a lot of frame rate issues. Throughout just even the first couple of levels that you're seeing here, honestly, probably about 70% of the time, there were frames being dropped all over the place. And it's a shame, because the potential here to deliver a visually impressive, high-quality VR experience is very high. ZIX has laid the groundwork in its early access version for what could be a very compelling and unique roguelike experience. Whether or not the developers can actually push it that extra mile to bring to us everything that they're promising, everything that was mentioned in that errors list on the wall when you first start in the hub, time will tell. But even as it stands right now, ZIX is a good game. So we can only hope it's going to get better in the long run, right? ZIX is available now for MetaQuest headsets, and as long as you're willing to take a bit of jank and some issues, then it's easily recommendable. If you're someone that likes games that are polished to perfection before you start, though, maybe wait and see what comes from the developer down the line.